How did he do?
Well, it's certainly a difficult assignment. You know, this is a show with a loyal audience, and he basically is introducing himself to America. And, you know, that's a great line, you know, so I think he delivered it well. You know, he was clearly nervous. He spoke very, very fast. I think it was jarring, actually, how quickly he spoke. But, you know, this is still a writing staff that's been there for a long time. It's only the first night. You can't overreact to it too much. He didn't break any of the furniture. He didn't knock anything over. For one night, I think he acquitted himself as well as you could possibly hope he could. There's still a lot of work left to go.
All right, so Will, I talk fast on TV too, so I never subtract points for that. The Daily Show, obviously, with Jon Stewart, politics was a huge part of. That's why we're talking about it, and it's a huge part of the following. So last night, Noah took on one of the biggest stories in politics right now on Capitol Hill. Let's look at that.
The Beltway bombshell. House Speaker John Boehner abruptly resigning from Congress.
No! Why leave now? I just got here. I got a fancy suit and a new set, and I learned how to pronounce your name. Boehner.
All right, it's the old Boehner pronouncer joke, which we've heard a lot on late night TV. So obviously, one of the questions is he going to keep the Jon Stewart audience? Will the Daily Show still be the place to go for late night political junkies? Based on that joke and what we know about Noah, is he going to keep up Jon Stewart's level of political satire and commentary?
Yeah, it certainly speaks to the fact he's new to American politics. The idea that if you're doing the Boehner joke now, like that joke was old 15 years ago. So it's clear, you know, he actually is going to be growing into the job in a lot of ways. But it's worth remembering, this is essentially the same writing staff. He's brought in some new people. But across the whole, this is the same staff that's won all those Emmys. It's not like a lot of them. It's left. Basically, the only person they've lost is Stewart on the writing staff. So certainly they're gonna let him work his way into that. It was still kind of strange watching him deliver Jon Stewart-esque jokes when we know he doesn't know politics as well yet, but I think that's something they're going to try to work him in as the months go along.
You know, Will, casting himself as a little bit of a political neophyte seems like not a bad strategy, but he had a couple of jokes last night that rang a little bit, maybe a little clunky, and some that were not totally lighthearted. Here is another Boehner joke, as I say, with a slightly different tone than that last one.
John Boehner has final say about which laws come in and which laws don't. He's basically the bouncer at Club Congress. Yeah, which is probably the worst club ever. I mean, everyone at the club has AIDS. That's
Okay, so AIDS wordplay on Trevor Noah's first night in the chair. I'm curious what you think that might tell us about his style going down the line.
It's certainly a groaner. There's no question about that. But, you know, one thing I thought is interesting is one of the things we actually think that we know about Noah is that he's been offensive on Twitter in the past. You know, he's actually talked a lot, kind of fought back against kind of outrage culture, which has actually hurt him a lot with a lot of Daily Show viewers. I think it's telling, though, that on this first night, remember, this was broadcast on all of Viacom properties. Like, this was a massive debut. For him to go for a joke like that, maybe not the best joke, but it shows there might be a fearlessness to him that maybe might push back against the audience in a way that ultimately can make the show his. The question is whether the audience is going to be there with him.
All right, obviously another big part of Jon Stewart's talent was he's a darn good interviewer. People liked the way he interviewed all kinds of guests, funny but also informative. Noah's first guest yesterday was comedian Kevin Hart. Let's look at the interview stylings of the new host.
touring the world, making movies.
Yes, sir.
With a rock star body as well.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I mean, it's really beautiful.
Have you seen my pants?
So, obviously, that was not a hard-hitting interview, but I thought his style was pretty friendly. It was pretty welcoming. What did you think of him as a sit-down interviewer? And do you think we're going to see him with presidential candidates and other big people in politics the way Jon Stewart did?
Yeah, certainly the rock star body question is not going to work for Bernie Sanders yet. Anyway, the campaign is young. But certainly, yeah, he's going to have to work on that, you know, because Stewart was known not just for doing good interviews, but doing very knowledgeable interviews. And that's something that Noah's clearly going to have to get brushed up on. He was comfortable. There's something inherently likable about him. Like there's a youth and excitement. He looks good in the suit. He's got a great smile. There's something winning about him that Hart liked about it. So you hope that continues to, I think that'll help him in the future. But yeah, he's got to brush up a little bit.
Will, yes or no, you think that by the time we get to November 2016 that Trevor Noah is going to be anywhere near as important a voice in the political scene as Jon Stewart was?
I don't think so. But, after a year, Jon Stewart was not as important as he was in any of those. It's going to take him a long time to kind of get there.
Yeah, you're a very generous and good-natured man, Will. We will see how he does. We will see how Trevor Noah does when he sits down with Governor Chris Christie this week and faces his first real presidential candidate.